Today's book is Mr. Putter and Tabby Clear the Decks. It was summer, and Mr. Putter and his fine cat named Tabby were itchy. They were not itchy because of fleas. There was never a flea in Mr. Putter's house. They were itchy because they were bored. Some of you might be bored today too. The days had become long and hot. It seemed that all they did was lie around and dream of orange sickles. They needed some adventure, and Mr. Putter always knew where adventure was. It was next door. We know who lives next door. Mrs. Teaberry lived next door. She lived next door with her good dog named Zeke, and they were very adventurous. They took adventurous classes like diving. They ate adventurous food like squid, and they loved adventurous movies. They watched those all the time. So Mr. Putter called Mrs. Teaberry, and he said, "Tabby and I are itchy." And Mrs. Teaberry said, "Oh dear, maybe you need a flea bath." "No, no," said Mr. Putter, "we are bored. It is hot. The days are long, and we have no orange sickles." "You need an adventure," said Mrs. Teaberry. "I have an idea." She always has an idea, doesn't she? Mr. Putter was glad. Well, he was sort of glad. Mrs. Teaberry's ideas sometimes took him to strange places. Remember when they went ice skating, or they went to the art museum where nobody knew what the art was? Mrs. Teaberry and Zeke showed up at Mr. Putter's door. They had sunblock, sunglasses, and sun hats. Even Zeke's got his sunglasses on. "Are we going in the sun?" said Mr. Putter. He was already so hot. More sun did not sound like fun. "Don't worry," said Mrs. Teaberry. "We are going on a boat, a sightseeing boat." Mr. Putter pepped up. "A sightseeing boat," he said. "I love sightseeing." "I know," said Mrs. Teaberry. Sometimes Mrs. Teaberry was a genius. The sightseeing boat was named the Olden Days. Mr. Putter liked it right away because he and Tabby were both old, and he kind of liked being old. Mr. Putter was glad the boat was not named the Young and Zippy Days because those were long behind him. Mr. Putter and Tabby and Mrs. Teaberry and Zeke stood at the very front of the bow. The wind blew in their faces, the gulls flew by, and they felt free. Free! Look at that, standing right up there, enjoying the wind. "The orange sickles, free orange sickles," called the captain. Mr. Putter looked at Mrs. Teaberry. "You are a genius," he said, and Mrs. Teaberry smiled. At the end of the day, the sightseeing cruise was over. Mr. Putter and Mrs. Teaberry and Tabby were ready to go home. But Zeke was not ready. He loved the olden days. He loved the wind. He loved the water. Plus, everyone kept feeding him their French fries. Zeke did not want to go home. He clamped his teeth onto the mast. He would not let go. Mr. Putter tugged. Mrs. Teaberry tugged. Zeke would not let go. The captain came along. Now, the captain knew what it was like to love a boat. He knew what it was like to talk to Zeke. He sat down and he told Zeke many things, and Zeke listened. Then the captain pulled a dog toy out of his pocket. It looked like a boat. To take the boat, Zeke would have to let go of the mast. Zeke wanted the boat. He let go of the mast, and everyone said, "Hooray!" And they all went home happy. Mr. Putter and Tabby took a nap. Mrs. Teaberry took a bath. And Zeke sailed his boat in his dog dish. And here's that last picture. Look at there, Tabby and Zeke are watching the boat sail in the swimming pool.